Hello, guys. This is Taylor Davidson with the Football Truth Podcast. I am happy to be here with Simone Lir- Ripamonti. He's right now he's in Spain at a at an amazing looking facility. Great timing. I'm super happy to have him on and to ask a few questions about his background and his experience in the football world. He is an accredited performance coach and contract professor in physical exercise applied to musculoskeletal pathologies in adapted and preventive motor activity at the University of Cagliari in Italy. He spent much time working at Real Madrid, as well as other top level clubs in Australia, Italy, and the Middle East, as well as some other great basketball clubs. I'm super happy to have him on. Welcome, Simone.
Thank you very much, Taylor, and it's a great time to spend some word with you. Hello, everyone, and thanks very much for having me here at the postdoc.
Yeah, man, it's my pleasure, and it's great timing for us as well. To have you on because you're just tell us really quickly about your background. Where
Yeah,
where where are you at right now?
I'm a sport addicted, sport passionate.
Yeah.
I always been involved in sports since I was young. I grow up. I'm lucky because I grew up in a small island in the Mediterranean Sea called Sardinia, which is in Italy. And as you can see, in Sardinia we have one of the best environment from climate point of view. We have best beaches on where we can have some aquatic sports like surfing, kite surfing, windsurfing, a lot of wind, a lot of
Mhm.
different wild places where we have wild fauna, and at the same time we love to spend sometimes outdoor. So I feel very lucky to grow up in this beautiful island. And then after the academic background in Rome University, Sports Science and Movement at the USM for Italico Roma, I had the opportunity to work under Walter Di Salvo, which was a professor at the University of Rome, but at the same time, he was the fitness coach at Lazio when Eriksson was the manager, the head coach, and they won probably one of the most difficult and challenge Serie A title, and he won also the cup in Italy. So he was one of the best fitness coach in the epoca of the Lazio,
Mhm.
and he moved to Manchester United with Ferguson under Queiroz, which was the assistant coach. And from Manchester United, I used to spend some time with him, observing and looking his view of training in football. He moved to open and to build up one of the best sport performance center at Real Madrid
Mhm.
on 2007, which was it called Real Madrid Technology Performance Center. And I was at the second year of my postgraduate degree in sports science technique for footballers. So I got the opportunity to win an internship, a professional internship at Real Madrid when I was only 24 years old. So I spent 6 months from January 2008 until June 2008, when I got a very one of the best experience in my life with such huge players like Raul, Van Nistelrooy, Fabio Cannavaro, Robinho, Marcelo, a lot of very talented players.
Mhm.
They won the World Cup, the Ballon d'Oro, And for me, it was one of the best experiences in my life. I was only 24 years old, and I was doing the internship with the first team under Walter Di Salvo coordinator. And from there, I learned how to cope with the pressure of one of the biggest club in the world. I was managing and I was the man in charge to look after the injury prevention and all the return to play for the first team. So I was very much involved in all the physio and rehab decision making. So the process of a footballer where comes an injury, how to reintegrate into a normal training routine. And from that experience, I decided to spend some time in Australia to finish my postgraduate degree thesis on hamstrings injury prevention. So I spent some time in Australia, in Sydney, with Darren Burgess, which was Liverpool head of performance for several years. And now he's Adelaide Australian football head of performance. So I learned a lot from him in terms of sports science, how they manage objective data with vision of combining internal load and external load all together. It was on 2009. Once I got this, once I finished this postgraduate degree in Rome, I then moved to the second team of a Serie A club called Sampdoria. And I was working under the head of performance to monitor training session, training load, to create the graph and the combining training philosophy of the club with coach philosophy. And I was managing as a sport coordinator the youth academy. On 2011, I got experience to work under Walter Zenga, which was one of the most famous and talented goalkeeper for Italian national team. It was on 2011, and I moved to Dubai when I was working under a club called Al Nasser Dubai. And I spent sometimes with my colleague, which is now the head of performance at the Aspire Center in Qatar. He working under Walter Di Salvo, and he was working as a performance coach with Walter Zenga at the Al Nasser Dubai. And I was doing the rehab trainer, looking after all the injury players. Then I moved to Cagliari Calcio, which is now is in second division in the Serie A. But when I was in that experience in Cagliari, it was in Serie A. It was my first professional Serie A contract. And I got the opportunity to work under the medical department. And this is very much important because I used to work under the technical department. So it was the first experience for me to work under the medical department. So to look after all the discussion internal, the medical department with the doctor, the physio, and I was the man in charge to look after the discussion in between the medical department and the technical department, and to make sure that the club got the vision of a training methodology and training philosophy. It was 2011. I got the certification from the Italian Football Federation at the Coverciano Center in Florence, where all the trainers that want to spend some courses or classes to learn how to become a performance coach with the UEFA certification, they have to spend some time at the Italian technical facility, where I took the opportunity to spend 1 month full time, like I'm here at the Spain Football Federation to give classes to the students. I was a student on 2011 when I got the certification. Then I moved to Australia, Melbourne, because I want to have this massive experience in a beautiful context, which is Australia. But at the beginning, I was working with a working holiday visa. picking fruits and cutting grapes all over Australia with my little van, driving from the west side to the east side of the island. And one day, Darren Burgess, which was, as I remember, the performance coach at Liverpool, but that period he was back in Australia. He texts me a message saying, "Look, are you looking for any job in Australia? There is a coach who is looking for a fitness coach. Would you like to join the club in Melbourne?" At the beginning, to be honest, Taylor, I was quite happy working in the farm and picking fruits in Australia and driving my little van, surfing. I said, why should I come back in sport professional football? But then I decided to take this challenge, and I became the head of performance of Melbourne Heart at the beginning on 2013. And then on 2014, the City Football Group, which is now leading and managing the Manchester City, New York City, Yokohama Marinos in Japan, a few clubs in Africa, and now Palermo. So they took the club and they changed the name in Melbourne City, and I became the head of performance at Melbourne City on 2014. I spent one season from 2014 until May 2015. A very big challenging season because I had to share knowledge and experience with different coaches from Australia and from Holland, so with different football methodology, and it was challenging for me, to be honest. I learned a lot from that experience, and when I decided to come back to Europe, because I thought was for me enough to work in the football environment. I enjoyed. I still think it was one of the best experience in my life. But then I decided to leave the club on May 2015, and I traveled back to Europe, where I'm at the moment teaching at the University of Cagliari as a professor of a postgraduate degree. And I am a president of an association, a no-profit association, where our aim is to support all sport professional, sport scientists from Sardinia, basically, just because I wanted to give to my Sardinian students something that they are missing, and a lack of confidence when they have to go to sport clubs or organization. They are lacking in preparation. So basically, we try to give them support from hard skills component point of view, but also from a soft skills component point of view, like self-confidence, leadership, time management, all these things that usually university doesn't look after. All these, let's say, soft skills, just because, as you know, Taylor, sometimes university give very structured, hard skill, technical skills, but sometimes it's very important, especially in this specific epoch in society where we are, sometimes it's very difficult to have a nice environment from a work perspective point of view. So they struggle to find a good opportunity. And also, just to finish my, let's say, pathway in the sports environment, we used to invite all sport professional in our beautiful islands of Sardinia with a project called Top Training. Which aim to sport professional from all over the world and all sports. They want to join our beautiful weather of Sardinia in our beautiful period of summer, but also during the off-season peak, which is usually February or March. and in massive facility with all the services for the best athlete that they can have. We used to organize training camp during the off-season period for every sport.
Mhm.
So this is something that I would like to touch in terms of discussion today with you, just because I think sometimes as a professional, we don't have so much time to spend with family and kids. And this is a good opportunity for sport people, sport professional to take a rest, but at the same time to get involved in a nice environment, to improve their knowledge, share some thoughts, and at the same time to spend sometimes with the family and their kids or a
Mhm.
girlfriend or boyfriends. It's a good time. And for the athletes to get into a new routine, new type of methodology, to learn some new techniques, and I think is a good opportunity. So
Mhm.
this is pretty much 15 years of my sport background.
Yeah, more than fascinating, Simone. It's obvious you're like a wealth of experience and knowledge inside the system as opposed to outside the system.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah,
it's really great what you're doing in Sardinia, especially because oftentimes in our modern unnatural world, elite sport and top level football is so centralized in big urban
yeah,
um, cities. And so many
yeah,
players don't even know what it's like to be out in nature and really spend time at the beach in a good climate where they can also work
yeah,
on their development as an athlete and kind of shift
yeah,
that mindset from okay, the off season isn't just for like resting and messing around. It's for actually how can I level up my body? How can I level up
yeah,
my mind and my health so that next season I'm a different player.
yeah. I agree 100%. We've been talking several times,
Mhm.
sharing ideas. There is a good community around the world, especially people that start to understand how much is important to be confident and to understand and feel their body. Not only if you got injury, so you are pretty much sensible about different things about your physical preparation, your nutrition, your sleep quality, but also young talent players, young athletes. Obviously, they had compared to the old generation,
Mhm.
um, great great access to the information that probably the old generation they didn't get so much. And this is could be from our perspective could be values, but at the same times, as you know, the website and the social media can create some problems
Mhm.
because there are so many risky training proposals, and sometimes young talent get confused from those.
Yeah. The internet is a huge positive and sometimes also a huge negative because you do
Yeah,
have that huge access of information at your fingertips, but then you also do have a lot of information where it just doesn't make sense. And
yeah,
and oftentimes people have to learn on their own and make the hard mistakes and
yeah,
they learn the hard way. Oftentimes the best players are the best athletes and even just in general like in the business world people that can learn from people that can learn from the mistakes of others are the ones that often make the biggest jumps in their development because they can skip all the heartache and all the pain and suffering and injuries. And then that's been a huge part of my business is to try and help guys avoid all those things. So I mean I think it's great that you and I got connected online just just through having a similar philosophies about nature and about sunlight and grounding and and the importance of of the mind and the body in terms of,
Yeah.
how do we actually help footballers fix their injuries as opposed to just uh,
Yeah.
treat the symptoms of the problems, and then they go in
Yeah.
this cycle where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
injury, and then and the rehab that can like fix the pain but doesn't actually fix the injuries. So then they have, like an ankle, and then a knee, and then a hamstring, and then a quad, and then everything, everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Look, Taylor. This morning we had a massive opportunity to visit Antonio Pintus at the Real Madrid first team training center. We had a nice lunch, spending some time with him, sharing ideas and thoughts about training methodology. And obviously, every road leads to Rome, so you can get so many opportunities to win titles and to get your player fit enough to the challenge and to create, for the worst case scenario, the best player as you can. But at the same time, as a sport professional, we have the responsibility to get the people healthy
mhm,
and to create high levels of standards of training for them to become to create and prolong the longevity.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that people really like miss out on is like you should be focused on being on the pitch and playing. But if you're using a variety of methods that just kind of like cover up the pain or like cover up the symptoms of your issues in your body, just so you can play like one extra match or like two extra matches, where are you? Because there's more, like every footballer should have the vision for themselves to play for a long time and to achieve their fullest potential as an athlete and as a footballer. So
Yeah,
that vision about what you want to do should be focused on longevity, on health and performance. I think one of the big things is a lot of people put performance and they put longevity as almost two different things,
yeah,
and we're like trying to uh prioritize performance comes at the expense of longevity. And
yeah.
and much of my work has been trying to shift that perspective to where performance and longevity should be on the same spectrum, on the same path, to where all the things that you do to increase performance also increase longevity. So,
Especially if you work with a young generation, with the young talent players, you must to have some. You have to spend some times with them to make sure they improve their skill, they open their mind for
yeah.
different methodology. When they get used to a different methodology, they can choose what the best for them, because what this is best for me could be not the best for you
Hmm.
as an athlete.
Yeah, I mean, uh, as you'll know, like working with players at Real Madrid. Um, I know you were telling me like a story about Robinho that was pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. It was tough for me because I was only 24 years old and I supposed to go to Real Madrid to make my internship.
Mhm.
But I was working with the first team, looking after the injury prevention and the return to play, and they just let me to get involved in the first team, and I was pretty much involved in all decisions. So I was very much managing the area of injury prevention without great experience, without
Yeah.
the experience that is required in this type of elite environment. So what I decided is to go and try to make sure that I can create something for them to trust on my work, to trust me, and to be as
Mhm.
much as I can involved in their decision. So when I was working with Robinho, that he got to Valgia, I was very scared to fail, because I was only 24 years old. But then, if you had a nice conversation with the footballer and you can have good empathy with them, you can have a nice conversation to make sure what is the best for them, to see how they used to train certain things. You can have your vision, but at the same time, you have to show that you understand, you listen what they think is good for them. And I thought for me, it was good to start from the beginning with him. So working barefoot to try to connect with his inner sense and make sure that he was connected with the environment, because sometimes these player, they live different life. They live something like that we never experience in our life, Taylor, because you being a players, of course, but these players, they live in a different world, a different a different mentality, pressure from the media.
Yeah.
They have everything, they can buy everything, so sometimes they struggle under pressure.
Yeah.
So it's tough sometimes to get out from the pressure, especially if you play for a club like Real Madrid, where you have to win every game, you have to lift trophy, you have to get some goal, especially if you have a big name like Robinho, if you play for the Brazilian team. Every game you have to show that you have the status of to play at Real Madrid. So I used to work with him, especially on the mindset, and to make sure that he was ready to cope with the pressure. And at the same time, so obviously, I was doing my job to make sure that he was ready to absorb a certain load,
Yeah.
and I got a good experience. One thing that I remember that I want to show you here is that I start to introduce some training methodology,
Yeah.
which was to work a lot with. Um, I put the camera here to work a lot on barefoot, to make sure that he was ready to absorb load, but at the same time to enhance his inner sense and body awareness.
Yeah.
And I used to implement the training with this funny platform, which is very simple, use mechanical stimulation of the fascia
Mhm.
with this acupuncture effect and reflexotherapy. So I used to work with him to make sure that he was uh, stimulate enough from proprioceptors point of view and
Mhm.
mechanoceptors point of view, in order to make sure, because if you remember, Robinho is a type of player that move quick and have a lot of a
Yeah.
change of direction, torsion, so a lot of spiral line movement. His vision and all these things help him to get out from huge defenders, or at the same times to use his body to dribble all the players. So I want to make sure that his his foot and his feet were quite trained enough to make sure with this change of direction and pushing. So it was good to see him appreciating and working with these fun. So a met of the energy. Ayura is the energy of our body,
Mhm.
and he got very good feelings. So as you know, Brazilian players, they used to work on sand. They used to play barefoot on sand and the beach
Mhm.
like we use in Sardinia in our island. So it's good to see such of a big player to release tension with this funny platform, but at the same time to understand the benefit of to myofascial stimulation,
Yeah.
receptors, all these exercises. So I think I got a very interesting feedback from him using all these tools. That is very simple. Sometimes, as simple as you can get some success.
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes, oftentimes the most simplest things are the most effective.
Yeah, yeah, obviously.
Um,
Most effective, especially if you play for big club like Real Madrid. You have all the services,
yeah, yeah,
nutrition, the all the service. The club provide you everything. You just think about to become a good footballer,
yeah.
even if you play for the youth.
So would you say that a lot of these top players like Robinho and like Sergio Ramos and that these guys that they know uh intuitively how important the feet are and this idea of being in touch with your skin as far as being barefoot.
You know what, Taylor? What I think is because the boot industry,
Yeah.
especially in football, is like they are struggling to change their let's say football model,
Mhm.
because boots companies are huge.
Yeah.
The industry is huge on the style of having a new boots. Just keep in mind that when they start the new season, they have a new football boots, so they cannot use the old one, even if they think and they knows they're going to have some problem.
Wh-
So
yeah.
they have to use the new boots because the sponsors and the companies, they push them to make sure they have the proper new boots from a style point of view, because they have to sell
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
market. So sometimes you have to see from from both sides. From a player perspective, they would like to have the opportunity to have a flip flops and to go
Yeah.
to the gym with the flips, or to just emphasizing. But the thing is, Taylor, sometimes you have to think from both perspective. I'm
Yeah.
sure that they understand, especially the promotion, the work that you guys are having on the social media, to try to provide a different view
Mhm.
to the footballers. This is something unique. So they should have a look. They should have a look of the ideas
Yeah.
that you guys are sharing. I'm sure that they are looking, and at the same time, they probably having some issues to don't uh, they cannot be free in certain decisions.
Yeah, of course. That's the way life is in many different realms. You have to kind of
Sometimes
understand,
is
yeah, understand where you're at, understand who's making the decisions. Yeah.
sometimes it's sad. Sometimes it's sad, but at the same times, it's a business at the same time. So
Yeah.
you have to look from different perspectives sometimes.
Yeah, it's a business, no doubt. And for me, I've always been fascinated with this idea that like the players are the ones that if they get hurt, if they like tear an ACL, they're the ones in the hospital, like having surgery.
Yeah,
And then it's, there's no the physio or the strength coach, some of the some of the medical experts having them do some training that I would argue might lead towards some of those injuries. Those guys aren't really on they're not really under pressure. Have, have you ever experienced in any of the jobs that you've worked in where you've seen some of the stuff that other trainers were having players do and you kind of weren't really sure if that was the best idea?
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
especially if you, yeah, especially if you as a player you are in such big club where they win every season, they got some good titles. You, even if you have a very good experience and you had some good titles, it's difficult not to go to the club and do whatever you think is good.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes, sometimes players, they like to have their routine, and this is something that as a fitness coach, as a performance coach, I always believe to open my mind and to understand why a footballer want to do some certain routine and some exercise, because
Mhm.
I'm a sport passionate. I've been a footballer. I love to talk with and have a chat with the players. So for me, it's easy to sit down, have a coffee, and discuss and share ideas. But sometimes I have colleagues that they they don't want to have discussion with player. They have their own methodology, and they have to they want continuous to deliver
Mhm.
this type of methodology, which is understandable. At the same time, as I said at the beginning, every road leads to Rome. You can see clubs winning titles without lifting any weights. You can see
Mhm.
so many clubs that had some very good success having training methodology where sometimes I don't understand why they use this type of a methodology.
Yeah, yeah.
But to answer to your question, footballers are kids. Sometimes they believe in certain guru of training,
Yeah.
and at the same time, as a sport professional, I have to deal with physios, personal physio, personal trainers, and at the same time, I've been a personal trainer of a footballer, and I have. But at the same time, it's all about if you're humbled, if you understand that you are not the only one to know the methodology, you're not the only one to have the um, the best idea in the world.
Mhm.
You can have a nice conversation also with the club, with the people that work in the club, because at the end of the day, this is a sport. This, we're talking about entertainment.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
know there is a lot of business, Taylor. I know there is a lot of business. The football industry is huge. But today, when I was Real Madrid, there was Modric, Courtois, Rodrigo, all such big player right in front of me.
Yeah.
And they're kids. They wanted to enjoy. They stay there. They're laughing each other in the dressing room. You
Yeah.
know, it's something that we have to remember that they wanted to enjoy. Obviously, there are so much interest, business, people around that make confusion sometimes, and they have to take the best decision for them, because at the end of the day, it's their career, it's their life.
Yeah, if they're injured, then they can't do their job, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
And, but definitely, I think sometimes pe well, it's it's no doubt that, like, all the best players, especially the ones that are more creative and more fluid and more mobile, are the ones that kind of still have that creativity from their childhood and able to smile on the pitch and kind of more of that
yeah,
Brazilian, um,
yeah,
that flair, and that's what people
yeah,
pay,
yeah.
to watch, you know? They
Exactly
pay
right.
to
Exactly
to
right.
be entertained by all the crazy, um, displays of performance and just being able to meg
Yeah,
people and be able to do tricks and speed and,
yeah.
and put the ball in the top corner.
This is
Um,
what the fan needs: entertainment. Make sure that when they go to the pitch, they deliver the best football they can. And
yeah,
obviously, if they cannot deliver because they're injured, it's our fault as a performance coach, as a club,
yeah.
as a performance sport professional, personal trainer, physio. Everyone, we are failing together.
Yeah, I think that's really important is for people to take responsibility because I see a lot. I see personally, I see far too often where the player or even the physio staff or any of the like strength staff, they view injuries as bad luck, or they view injuries as like it's just part of the game.
Yeah.
Well, in my opinion, it's like, well, I mean, injuries happen for a reason. It's not just like random. And
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing that I think you and I definitely agree upon. But it seems as though in the football world there's this big belief where it's like if someone like tears their ACL, it's just bad luck.
Yeah, I agree. It's something that we have to keep pushing, Taylor, because we don't have the magic answer.
Yeah, of course not.
Yes, we are people. We are field people. We are people that can make an impact. So
Hmm.
I don't believe in people that have the solution of everything, but I think we have some best professional in the world that get paid, to
Yeah.
make sure that the footballer are fit enough. So
Mm.
for me, it's very important to understand that there are some people that have to take responsibility for sure, but at the same time, as a football community, we want the same thing. We want to see footballer perform and fun, happy to watch
Yeah.
beautiful game, this beautiful sport, and this is something that everyone has to understand. There is no challenge. We don't have to fight each other. I think I have the solution or something like that. But at the same
Mhm.
time, the people that have to take responsibility, they have to take it. Otherwise, why they get paid?
100%. I agree. I agree. Um, the other topic that I wanted to ask you about is so you're there in Madrid and
Yeah.
you've just seen a bunch of the first team players for Real Madrid and you've seen and as we can see behind you, facilities are amazing. The grass is amazing. They have the best gyms. They have all the best
Yeah.
material, all the best resources. But at the end of the day, clubs like Barcelona and Real Madrid, they go and they buy players from Brazil
Mm.
instead of, you know, instead of the players from their academy.
Yeah. That was a discussion this morning at Real Madrid
Mm,
because obviously this is a topic that you mentioned. Everyone want to have like Barcelona, lot of the players from the cantera,
mhm,
and this is something that obviously the club has to make sure, especially in this particular period with the economic crisis
mm,
in Europe, but in all the world. The clubs has to understand that they cannot buy the footballer. They have to build the
mhm.
footballer from the academy. They have to build the young talent generation. But this is come from coach mentality. As
Yeah.
a coach, we have to make sure that we can make an impact of
Mhm.
um, football development because, as you know, in the best club there are so many good coaches, former players. Um, because if the club is big, everyone want to work at the club.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, if you think that the best coaches train in the first team and the young coaches with no experience, they work with the young players, this is
Uh,
something unacceptable. So as the coach, you should work when you are the best experience in the youth team to make sure that you deliver your experience to the
mhm.
young footballer. This is my view. So sometimes big club they cannot lose time. They have to win titles. So the best solution is to buy best players. And at the same time, if you want to get people in the stadium, fans, you have to buy big players like Cristiano Ronaldo, like Messi, because then you can sell tickets, you can go for a tour and play friendly matches around the world. So sometimes it's very tough to answer your question, Taylor. But I think you're right. You're right. We should, as a coaches, take responsibility and deliver the best service to our young generation of footballers to make sure that they go to the first team
Yeah.
without any doubt and to play. If you see Italian national team, they struggle. Mancini, he's struggling to get good player to play for the first team and the national team. Why? Because we have an issue, a problem in Italy that we are so many players outside of Italy. We sign so many players from, let's say, Africa or South America. We have some from Holland, Belgium,
Eastern Europe.
Norway, Denmark, all these, leagues. Uh, and sometimes it's difficult to select player for the first team of the national team. It's very difficult. And this is what happening in Italy. And that's the reason why sometimes it's hard for us to get into the World Cup, even if we are a very strong national team compared to the rest of the world, because we won 4 World Cup. We've been a history on the national team, so it's difficult
Yeah.
to answer.
Well, yeah, it's a multi-million-dollar question, you know? It's
Yeah, yeah,
and it's
yeah.
something that
You
many,
should
many
ask.
people are
You
trying to
should
get to.
ask. Yeah, you should ask to the club where, for example, Athletic de Bilbao in Spain, they used to have footballer at the academy only from the region.
Yeah,
So they don't take player from outside of the region.
yeah,
They call Basque, the Basque region.
yeah, yeah,
So I've been observing their training ground, their training session, and I have been talking with the coaches of the academy, and they are very passionate about their country, their culture, the football methodology. So this is something that obviously, for the history of a club like Athletic Bilbao, as a coach, if I want to work at Athletic Bilbao, I have to understand that this player must be strong to become a player for the first team and to make sure that they come from our region. So as there is, a very strong driver for them to be part of the first team and to grow up with this football mentality that we born here. We want to play for our first team, to play for our region, and to make sure that we can create the best player to don't get player from outside of the region. This is a very good model of think and to answer your question.
yeah. It's as we're saying, it's a age-old question where it
Yeah,
will always
yeah,
keep happening where, certain
yeah,
clubs are able to make talent and the other clubs buy the talent.
yeah, yeah.
And then you kinda have
And
to decide,
it's gonna be
balance.
very difficult to change this mentality, because if you look at Paris Saint-Germain, they never get people and players from the academy, but at the same time they struggle to win the Champions League. So you never know. This is
Yeah.
the beauty of football, the beauty of the sport. There are so many variables that you cannot take control. And sometimes, even if you have Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe, you never know if you can win the title and the Champions League.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, winning championships is more than just about the individuals, it's the team, it's the
Yeah,
coach, tactics, and the chemistry of everybody as a whole, not just the sum
yeah,
of its parts, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, This has been super great, Simone. And as a bonus, I
Great
think
chat.
Simone mentioned to me that like he wanted to kind of take us on a little tour of the facility.
Yeah, I want to show you the gym. I don't know if the students they finish, but I wanted just to show you the gym, if you like.
Yeah, let's
Make
see it.
sure.
That'd be great.
So here we are in this football training ground, where it's very much close to the gym. When I show you that, here the professor are coming into the gym. Let me check. So,
Very cool.
so here, I'm just talking because they're having classes. So here is where the Spain national team, the football team, used to prepare the World Cup, and they're going to come here to prepare the World Cup in Qatar, Doha. So this is the Spain national team, and the student from the master of the Spanish national team, they are having a class.
Nice.
As you can see,
Very
and
cool.
now, yes, massive, massive
Yeah.
gym again, very close to the football pitch, so it's easy for the footballer to get into the ground and to make sure they have a nice
Atmosphere, yeah.
training ground over here. Atmosphere, yes, everything is very close. I cannot show you from here, but behind me there are the hotel where the footballers can sleep and have a rest after the training session. There are behind me the office of the Spanish Football Federation and the classes where the students from all over the Spain, they come here and have a class, trainers, coaches, they can learn how to become professional, physio, sports scientists. So it's very great sport facility here in Madrid. I've been taking class yesterday, 5 hours, 1 hour in the class, 2 hours and a half in the gym, showing a few myofascial release technique. And then we had a very nice football training session here on the field, where we used to combine sport vision and football drills in possession, on possession. So I was happy. I'm very happy to came here because this is one of the best facility for football in the world, and the Spanish Football Federation is very rich federation. But at the same time, they got title. They won the World Cup a few years ago, so they have strong credibility. They have a very strong confidence in what they're trying to deliver to the football community.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and I think everyone watching the podcast is going to be really um
Yeah,
really inspired, just because every player aspires to be there, aspires to be at that level,
yeah,
and that's
yeah,
what, all your training, all your lifestyle, all your health and your diet and your
yeah,
recovery should lead towards that end goal.
yeah. Yeah, influence.
Um
Everyone are very welcome in Sardinia for sure. We have again beautiful weather and massive facility for every sport, not only in football. But at the same time, obviously, as my background in football, I can very much help all sport professionals, footballers, coaches, physio. They want to come and join our island and spend some time with us, having class, sharing ideas. So you guys are more than welcome. I know that you having planned to come to Europe and have a tour. for sure that we can catch up and have some time together. We look forward to have you here with my students and to go through some
Mhm.
football drills and methodology that you can take us to another level.
Yeah, that's the mission of Football Entangled is to push the limits of what people think is possible, and, I'm definitely
Yeah,
excited. I think everyone watching, should expect, next summer, for there to be some kind of, very cool event, a festival of sorts or, an Entangled, event in Sardinia. Because I mean, it's an amazing location, so it's, like, hard to say
yeah,
no.
it is. It is.
And we just wanna use the best because that's what we desire for ourselves is the best. And
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
any footballer should expect the best from themselves and the best from their environment. So just to wrap up, Simone, where can people find you? Like where can they learn more about you?
First things ever, I have a website, simoneripamonti.com. I have a YouTube channel profile, Simone Ripamonti, which I used to put a lot of videos on training drills and methodology, workout in the gym, outside the gym, outdoor training, off-season training. So I have an Instagram profile, simone.ripamonti, and LinkedIn, Simone Ripamonti. So you guys can find me and have a chat. I'm very happy to talk to everyone, sport passionate, sport professionals, trainers, footballers, sport people. So
Mm.
most than welcome to talk with everyone in the sport community.
Fantastic. We'll have all those links down below in the
Yep.
description.
Thank you very
Simone,
much.
yes, Simone, thank you so much for giving us your
Thanks very much.
time. Your time, your knowledge, your insight, and obviously
Thanks
this
very much.
environment is very cool to have on the camera. And
Great to be part
yeah,
of the process, guys.
yeah, man. I'm looking forward to what's coming next, and we will see you
Yep.
guys very soon next time. All right.
All right. Thanks very much. Enjoy your rest of the day and have a nice football.
Before you guys go, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My name is Taylor, the founder of Football Entangled, and we are revolutionizing the football world one player at a time. Hit the link down below if you are interested in unlocking class football.